Shalom, this is Wanda. This is Diaspora Connect. Salama, Habari, Mambo. Good morning, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you so much for taking the time to view my channel. This is Diaspora Connect. Welcome in the room, or welcome to my channel. This is not a live, it's a video. So I haven't been doing lives as much because it's just been easier for me just to do the videos. Because when I do lives, I want to be able to communicate with most of my audience who are in America, and it's late at night. The videos I've been doing during the day so we can have that natural sunlight, because it makes the video look a little bit clearer, a little bit better. So yeah, that's kind of why I haven't been doing lives lately, more videos. Welcome to my channel. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to all my faithful subscribers who've been rocking with me from day one. Welcome to my channel. Do me a favor, please, thumbs up. Like the video. The more that you like the video, the more I can get the video into circulation, because I am trying to get monetized, even though I am at 2,400 subscribers. So yay! Thank you so much for all those who subscribe. Thank you for all those who view my content, who find it beneficial, or that you took your time out to view my channel. Thank you so much. So welcome. So today I wanted to discuss with you some of the reasons why I decided to leave America and repatriate to Africa. Yeah. So there are several reasons why I decided to do this, but my first thought and idea of wanting to move back to Africa was back in 2016, 2017. So I could say I had an awakening, right? I can say I had an awakening. At the time, I was considered myself a Christian. But now I know who I am. In that, I know that I am the blood descendant of the children of Israel that were in Egypt, and Moses came and brought them out by the hand of the Most High, the Almighty. So those people are my ancestors. So the Bible is basically our history book. Some people say it's the white man's book. Some people say white men wrote it, but they wrote every book. Most other nations wrote all the books. So you use discernment in what you believe and what you don't believe. And my discernment and my spirit is telling me that the stories in there are correct, and that in terms of who we are, that part, like we are the children of Israel, because it specifically states in the book of Deuteronomy that we would be either blessed or cursed if we didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments in the Bible. Kind of quick summary. And so read the book of Deuteronomy and read all the curses. When you go through all the curses in the book of Deuteronomy, you will see that these curses are what the slaves, actually chattel slavery in America, is what we suffered. And it was way back in the book of Deuteronomy. It was prophesied that the children of Israel will go through this, because if either they would be blessed or they would be cursed. They made that choice. Blessed, you have all the blessings. Cursed, you would be under someone else, submitted to someone else. You would have another nation over you. You would become captives, blah, blah, blah. So this is the transatlantic slave trade. And there were many other slaveries that we did experience throughout our bloodline, but the last one is the transatlantic slave trade. And if you read the book of Deuteronomy, the curses, you'll see that a lot of the things that transpired in that slavery, specifically the one in America, the chattel slavery in America, it states exactly what will happen to us. Our enemies will take us into captivity. We will be taken into a land that's not ours. We would have yokes around our neck. We would have land and they would take it from us. We would have a wife and they would take her. We would have children and they would sell them. Like, everything that happened to us is in the book of Deuteronomy. So that's how the awakening that I say I had. So now that is what I came to terms with now. Then I got a spiritual message, a message from, some people say the Holy Spirit. I say the set apart spirit, which is the spirit of the Almighty. He has many names. So, people call him God, Yahweh, Ahaya, So Nini na Nini Tatanzabi, but he's the creator, the one, the uncreated creator is who he is, right? So I got a message from him by his spirit, and in the message, the reason I say it was by his spirit is because it spoke to me in my spirit. The spirit spoke to me in my spirit and told me that I was not American and I'm not from America. So I'm having this dialogue and this conversation in my spirit. And I'm like, well, where am I from then? I'm having this inner conversation. And the spirit was telling me, or the voice, I would say, was saying, you're from Africa, is what the voice said. You're from Africa. And I was like, and then it went quiet. So I'm like, Africa, like, and I was still talking. I'm like, well, I don't know anybody in Africa. I don't know anything about Africa. Voice went quiet. It piqued my interest. So I started researching. I said, well, I need to go visit then. I don't know where I'm from in Africa, but I need to go visit. So at that point, that was the start of me wanting to visit Africa and eventually to live in Africa. Even though I didn't know anybody, I didn't know a lot about Africa. I didn't know about a lot of the countries. I heard about a few of them, just, in America, talking and, being around different continental Africans. Kenya, I had a friend that was from Kenya, Ghana. So I heard about these specific countries, but I just didn't know where to begin. So this was in, I think, 2017, 2018. And so during that time, I actually went on a cruise to Jamaica. And after I spent like a whole week in Jamaica, it just started really, because Jamaica was just so, it was so beautiful, y'all. And it was just nice being around all Black people, like all Africans. It did something in me to be around people who look like me. Nothing but people that look like me. So the next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to visit Africa, but I was trying to figure out where in Africa. And then, wow, this is going back to my testimony of how I decided that I wanted to come to Africa Well, anyway, I'm going to segue into the reasons why I decided to move to Africa for good and leave America. So in 2019, here it is, Ghana had the year of return. So I was like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for me to visit Africa. It'll be the first country that I visit, and then I'll just travel around and visit, like go back and forth from America, just visiting once a year different countries. That was my plan. So I went to Ghana during the year of return, 2019, stayed for 2 weeks, fell in absolute love with Ghana, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sweating, and yeah, sorry about that. So I fell in love with Ghana. So I decided that after I stayed for 2 weeks and came back to America, and I started working, get back home to America, started working, and the whole, like at work, like I had a cubicle at work at this time, and I worked for a motor credit company. I worked for the finance company. So I'll be in my cubicle at my desk like this, looking out the window, like I would just be dreaming about Africa. And I felt so homesick when I left. Like I felt like a child that is parent is making them go somewhere and they don't want to leave their parent, and they just feel like that anxiety of being separated from their parent. That's how I felt when I left Ghana. Like I was like, I don't want to leave, but I couldn't stay at the time because I didn't plan it financially and all that. So I went back, and then I planned, my next trip. And my next trip was to visit Southern Africa. Because so many people, I had started getting a lot of friends on Facebook from, I started befriending a lot of continental Africans, and I started speaking about going to Ghana, Africa. I'm so excited to visit, and so I started having a lot of continental African friends, specifically from Southern Africa, and many of the Southern Africans would tell me that I look like them. They would say, you look like us. So I started looking at a lot of the pictures of the Southern Africans. And so I was like, wow, I do look like them. And then I had a couple of continental Southern Africans from the Xhosa tribe. And so I started researching the Xhosa tribe in Southern Africa. And I felt they resonated with my spirit, y'all. I was like, yeah, that's my tribe. Like, I felt like, yeah, the Xhosas, those my people. I got to go visit. So I booked a trip to go to Southern Africa to visit. Of course, I did that in 2020, May of 2020, but I did it in 2019. COVID hit 2020. So my trip was canceled because all the countries were closed. And then that was in May. So I kept pushing my date out. I kept calling them every June, April, let's see, April, May. Yeah, May, June. I called them. They was like, no, the country's still not open. So I found out that Tanzania was open. That's the only country that was open during COVID. So I ended up calling Qatar. I was on Qatar, and I ended up asking them because they kept canceling my flights. So I was like, well, can you just change my flight to Tanzania? They said, well, yeah, our hub is in Dar es Salaam. So I was like, perfect. So they changed my ticket to Tanzania. And so, so that's how I ended up being here in Tanzania. And my plan was just to stay until Southern Africa opened again. And then I was going to leave and go there. But it was like months before it opened. And then after I got situated and I got comfortable, I started meeting people. It was a lot of us here. It was like a little family, like family reunion. We was meeting. It's like I was meeting Americans here in Africa. Yeah, I was meeting Americans in Africa. And it was amazing. Like, yeah. So this video looks like it's gearing towards how I ended up in Tanzania. So I guess I'll do another video about the reasons why I came to Africa. But this one is how I ended up in Tanzania. So, because I went through my whole testimony of how I ended up here. So I might as well continue to go. So anyway, July 2020 is when they rescheduled my ticket for July 2020. And so I said, okay, I didn't know Swahili, y'all. I didn't know T. Shillings. I didn't know anything about the country. I knew Magufuli because I was watching him online. And he spoke Swahili, but they had a couple of videos where they were translating what he was saying and stuff. And I liked the fact that his stance on the COVID, I liked his whole stance on, COVID, not closing the country down, and the whole thing that he stood for. I like what he stood for. So I was like, yeah, I want to go to that country. So got the ticket, changed. And so I told my job, I was like, 2-week vacation. So my 2-week vacation ended up being here this year, 4 years in Tanzania. When I left, I was still on vacation. After 2 weeks, I called my job. Well, COVID was still going on and everybody was at home anyway. So I called the job and I told them I can't get there. I could, but I told them I couldn't get there because I was stuck in Tanzania. So they allowed me to do a sabbatical. So they gave me a sabbatical because of everything was shut down anyway. So, and most of my coworkers, they were working from home anyway. So they allowed me to have a sabbatical. And that went on for about 6 months. Let's see, June, July, August, September. Yeah, it went on for 6 months. So it's 3 months at a time. So 3 months they gave me. Now, this helped me out a lot because I went from 2-week vacation getting full paycheck, but I did get cut down to I think 60% of my check, something like that, which was half of my check. I cut down to half of my check, but it was still money. So I got half of my check for the next 3 months. And then, I extended this sabbatical till December 2020. So from July to December, I was getting paid. I was just saving my money. Initially, when I came here, I had no more than like $2,000 to, saved up. But at the time, I was only planning on visiting. And then I was just going to go to Southern Africa. The plan that I have for Southern Africa is I work for Ford Motor Credit Company, and they have a Ford Motor Company in Pretoria, South Africa. So I was going to go there during my vacation and talk to them to see if I can get transferred there. So I could transfer from the U.S. and start working at the plant there because I work at the Ford company here. So I was going to try to talk to them myself, but I never had a chance to go because the country was locked down. So I did the sabbatical. Now, all of this, you guys, was divinely ordered. Like, this was the uncreated creator. This was the Almighty. This was the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Like, he just planned this whole thing for me. Like, I was walking through the steps, one step at a time. I didn't know how things was going to work out. I didn't know how it was going to work for me. But I just had faith, and I just took it day by day. And that's what I did. Now, I felt a little anxiety, I'm not going to lie, but he kept me on track. With my faith was strong, and I was like, I know I have a purpose here. I know I heard you tell me that this is my home somewhere. So I'm trying to figure out where I need to be. So he worked it out. And then let's see, December 2020 is when I had to stop, like quit my job, because it was like either you come back or you quit or we fire you. So I was like, I quit. So I put in my resignation December 2020. And then May of 21, I created my business, which was Diaspora Connect. It's a consultation business. I created that. The thing is, most of us that come here, we do consultations, we do travel consultations. So basically, I was doing consultations anyway, helping people. And I was actually doing it for free from like July to December. I was just providing free information. Then I started charging a small fee. I think it started off at like 30 US dollars for an hour or something like that, or 30 minutes or something like that, an hour. And then I started spending a lot of time talking to people. And so I talked to one of my girlfriends, and she was like, nah, you need to charge more. Like, so I was like, yeah, because I'm spending a lot of time helping people, giving people advice. So I upped it. But before I upped it, I created my business, which is a consultation business, and it's called Diaspora Connect LLC. I created that here in Tanzania. It was a local business, and I had 2 local partners. I decided to get 2 local partners instead of 1. So I got 2 partners, and I'm glad I did, because now I'm seeing how it was beneficial for me, because when one is busy, you have the other. If one can't do something, you have another. So you have 2 that can help you out instead of 1 person. So that was very beneficial for me. It wasn't any extra money to register the business if you have 1 or 2. So yeah, I just went on and registered the business, and I had 2 locals on the business. And so yeah, so I did that. And so I was the CEO. I control operations, and I had my 2 partners, 2 brothers. Uh, and so they did mostly everything for me that I needed done. Like, they took me places. I didn't really say. That's how I learned how to maneuver here, because I had a lot of brothers doing things for me, locals doing things for me, handling business and all that stuff for me. So yeah. So sorry, y'all. I was trying to get this my seat situated. But I had the brothers doing a lot of things for me, helping me out, handling the business, tax stuff, and all the business stuff for me. Considering that I'm, a foreigner and a woman too, I just prefer to have the men go ahead and handle everything, even though I paid for everything. So yeah. But anyway, I got that registered. So at that point, I started getting income from the consultations. It wasn't a lot, because there were a lot of people here doing consultations. So, and then I still was only charging like 30, 35 at the time for an hour. So I was still doing consultations, but that wasn't enough. So I ended up raising the fee to 60, and it's still at that point. So I only raised it twice. Actually, 3 times. It went from like 30, 35 to like 60. So now it's $60 USD for a 1 hour consultation. And so, and at that point, that's the additional income that I had. I had a lot more clients at that time, because I was freshly new here, and people were reaching out like left and right. So I was able to make a good amount of money. It was consistent, I would say. It was consistent, and then I was able to save that with the money I already had saved. And then I started providing other services. My partners, because we had the business, they had to get paid. So they started doing like once people consult me, they would pick them up from the airport. They would be, help them look for places, houses, translate, phone, everything they needed, they would do for them. My partners started becoming like personal assistants to people. So people were paying them. So that was their income through the business. So I didn't actually pay them for a salary, but they got paid through the connections, through the um, networking, through the business connections like that I would make through Diaspora Connect, and they got paid through those people. So that's how they got their payment. I didn't pay them personally. But the thing that safeguarded me with my business, consultation business, is the fact that I did the consultations myself, and the monies come directly to me, and then they get whatever they do to help people. That's how they got paid. If they sat with me and did business consultations, then they got paid um, a percentage. So I would actually pay them like 51%. So since they have 51% of the business and I have 49, if they did a business consultation with me and it was both of them, then they would split 51% of whatever the payment was. So at the time it was $35. So they would get 51% of the $35 if they sat with me and did the business consultations. For the first, I would say, year, after creating the business, whenever I did business consultations, both of my partners, I would require both of them to be there because they could give the people personal advice since they registered the business and they knew it was their country. I know the information, but it is better coming from the ones who actually went to the office and filled out the paperwork and set everything up for me. They were the ones that did it. So I wanted the clients to hear directly from my partners, even though I was very knowledgeable. And through the process, I learned all the information myself because everything was explained to me. The attorney sat with me, went over everything so I can actually explain, which is why I do business consultations with people now. I could just tell them the steps I took to schedule to register my business. Yes, mine is a consultation business, but you go through that same process. The only thing is when you have businesses that require other licenses, then of course you have to get more than one license. For me, I only needed one license for consultations. But if you have a business and you want to sell stuff, you're going to need food and all that. You're going to need all these different licenses for the different things that you want to do in your business. For me, I only needed one, just one business license. And so, yeah, so they started, that's how they got paid. And that's how I started getting paid. So it wasn't a lot, but it was consistent with the money that I already had saved. And then, of course, that back then we were getting stimulus checks. And so I was, saving those. And so here it is 4 years later down the line. And I'm trying to keep track of the time. Here it is for going on 4 years, actually 4 years in July that I have been here in Tanzania. And so my main income have been just consultations and then other things. So I started partnering with other businesses where I'll do referrals and I get a fee on for that. If I refer people to my attorney, I would get a referral fee for that. So any referrals that I did, people agreed to pay referral fees. And it wasn't a whole lot, but it's not a lot to live here. But the main expense or the largest expense that you're going to pay here is for your rental, your home, and maybe internet. So internet is kind of expensive. Not more expensive than in America, but it's one of the most expensive bills you're going to have is internet, and then your rent, because you usually have to pay 3 to 6 months or something like that. So yeah, so that's how I've been sustaining myself. That's how I've been here. I have not worked a job since December 2020. So all praises to the uncreated creator. I have to give him credit because he's the one that spoke to me. He's the one that told me that my real home is Africa. It's not America. So he's the one that sparked the desire in me to want to move to Africa. So it started with visiting Africa, and then it went to living here because I wanted to be living in a country that I am from. So even though people look at us and they call us foreigners, and they, because we have, like, you were born in a Western country or European country, they say we're foreigners and we're from that place, but, we're not from that place. We were born in that place, but we all originate from Africa. And I had the personal voice and personal message from the one who created me and told me that I'm not from America, that I'm from Africa, and my home is here somewhere. So yeah, that's how I ended up being here in Africa 4 years. So even when the countries opened again, the borders opened again. I was so comfortable here in Tanzania. I haven't had a chance to even visit Southern Africa yet. I still want to do it, but I haven't even visited because I created the business at that point. And then I was like doing business. And so when you're in business, you have to be creative, and you have to be innovative in how you can bring in revenue. So even with the business, and I was doing consultations, I started trying to branch out and do other things. I did even look into Zambia at one point. If you go back through my videos, I was considering moving to Zambia because I was grouping with some locals who said that they had created a organization that was going to help the diaspora to move here, to get land and all this stuff. So I was kind of routing my clients and my people that contacted me for Tanzania over there, thinking, they're giving us land, just like in Ghana, giving us land, and they're going to help us to stay with, visas and work permits and all this. Well, unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I went to Zambia, I think it was 22, and I went in May, and was it April and May? So I went 2 weeks in April and 1 week in May, and to meet with them, to get to meet the chief, to see the land and all this stuff. And so before I would decide to move, I was just waiting to see if they were going to get people what they said they were going to get people, like work permits, residency permits, or something like that, because they had promised that. Now, for me, I kind of think like I'm not going to uproot myself from here in Tanzania and go over there when I am not going to be able to stay. So I was waiting on them to have the first group of people that have, because it was some people that left America, left other places to in the UK and stuff. They moved to Zambia because they were waiting on this organization, and I'm not going to say the name of it. If you go back through my videos, you'll see the name of it. This organization had promised that we would be able to stay. So for me, before I, start doing any work on any land, I need to have that land in my name. I need to know that I can stay in that country, and et cetera, et cetera. Like that's what I was looking at, even though I was promoting and encouraging people to go check it out because I went to visit. But I didn't make the move because they didn't show me that they would do what they said they were going to do. Now, these were locals. So this is what the experience that I've had, where we have to be careful about local people saying that they're going to give land and they're going to, you can stay here and all this stuff, unless you actually see it done, unless you actually see somebody building the land, or you actually building a house on it, or unless you see somebody with a residency permit or work permit or something that they help them get in that they can stay, then you should wait until you see it. And that's what I was waiting for. Well, months went by and they kept promising and promising and promising, and it didn't pan out, and it didn't happen. So I stayed right where I am in Tanzania because I already had a business here established. What I was going to do is go over there and just come back and forth. I was going to stay over there and just come back here to work the business and just go back and forth. But after I didn't see them doing what they had promised that they would do for us, I changed my mind and decided to stay here because I'm like, yeah, I got a business and I'm established here. I'm not going to leave here, go over there, and I can't stay there. They haven't done anything yet because they kept making promises. 6 months went by, kept making promises. I think after 6 months, almost a year, I was done. So at that point, I was like, I was telling people they're not going to do anything. So I kind of had a falling out with them because they were not happy that I was telling people the truth. And so, I felt obligated to tell my people the truth because they only went to Zambia is because of me. And they were only looking into going over there because of me. So I had to tell them the truth that they're not going to do anything because they haven't done anything for anybody. So they got really, really angry. And so some words was exchanged, some curses were spoken over me that I had to rebuke, and that I had to, go to the Father and talk to him about this. And so all was well. I was protected. But yeah, I learned a lot through that situation in dealing with locals when it comes to some stuff. Like we have to be careful as diaspora, because sometimes the fact that we want to come here and we want to buy land, and they know what our desires are, and they know we want to leave and be somewhere where we feel comfortable and safe. We want to buy land, we want to build. People can try to benefit off of our wanting to come back to Africa, or come back home, or come back. Yeah. So I learned that. And so now I'm more aware of when people say, come to this country. We have an organization that can help you, and we have land to give you. I'm recommending that you just buy your own land, just to be on the safe side. It don't matter what country you decide to go to. Buy your own land just to be on the safe side, because you don't know what's behind this land. You don't know if it's really given to you. You don't know. I'm just saying, you don't know, because we are from the West. We don't know how things operate here. A chief gave you this and this, that. Buy your own land just to know that you bought it outright. You got your documents, and you ain't dependent on spending your money on land from somebody that it may not be their land or something. So that's what I was concerned about. That's why I just kind of shut the Zambian thing down. And because of the bad experience that I had with a lot of the locals over there in Zambia, I decided I don't even want to live there. I don't even want to visit there. They gave me a bad taste in my mouth for Zambia. Zambia is a beautiful country now. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. It's landlocked. So that wasn't the best for me, because when I went there, I was missing Tanzania, because I like being by the water. And even there are some places in Tanzania, they have mountains too. But it was very cold, and it was really it's landlocked. I didn't like it as much as I like Tanzania, because I'm a tropical person. So I like being in a tropical environment. So, and it was cooler there. So a lot of mosquitoes too. Zambia was very swampy, because they have a lot of like lakes and rivers and stuff like that. And Lake Victoria, and it's a lot of mosquitoes. It's a lot here, but those mosquitoes over there, they were pretty intense. The mosquitoes are bad when you stay in a hotel and they have the mosquito spray in the hotel. I have not stayed in a hotel here where they had the mosquito spray in the room. They had that in Zambia. And that first night I was there, y'all, I got bit up so badly. I was like praying that I wouldn't get malaria. Their mosquitoes is crazy. But anyway, this video has changed to how I ended up coming to Tanzania and living here and being here for 4 years. That's what the name of this video is going to have to be, because I was thinking I was doing a video about why I left America, the reasons why I left America to come here. But it changed into like my testimony of how I ended up living in Tanzania 4 years and leaving America to repatriate here. So that's my story. So anyway, I'm going to end this video. I'll do another video about the reasons why I left America to come here to live in Africa, and why I wanted to leave America to come over here. That's a different video, so I'll do that one. But thank you everyone for taking the time to view my channel, to view my content, and listen to my testimony. So I guess I gotta name this video my testimony of how I ended up leaving America and coming to Tanzania. So thank you so much, all my favorite subscribers. Don't forget to please do me a favor and like the video, thumbs up, share. If you know anyone that's interested in visiting Tanzania, or repatriating, or wanting to do business, they can hit me up at diasporaconnect0@gmail.com, diasporaconnect0@gmail.com. I do travel and business consultations. I can assist you with that if you're interested. Yeah. So, please subscribe. Hit on the notification bell to be notified whenever I do a new video or live. Right. So please view some of my videos in its entirety, because I'm trying to get monetized. I'm like this close. I did not realize, y'all, that your watch hours drop off. So every month they drop off. So you gotta, if a lot drops off, you gotta work extra hard to get it back close to. You have to have 3,000 watch hours. I think I'm like at 2,700 watch hours. So people need to really watch the videos so I can get monetized, so I can get that extra change. I need that change, y'all. I need that change. Yeah. So thank you so much for taking the time to view my channel. Thank you for being my favorite subscriber and my new subscriber. Welcome in the room. So I'll do another video soon. I'm going to say shalom, salama, peace, family, and see you guys in the next video.